A blessed Advent from Bali, and welcome to Pathways of Hope Sunday Gospel Reflection on Luke 3:1-6. Would you believe I'm here in one of the most beautiful vacation islands on earth for work? You see, 12 years ago, I got my certification as Associated Certified Meta Coach, and this week, I'm working towards the next level of certification. And you might say, 12 years? Yes. To get the required competency takes a while for our field in neurosemantics. Added to my own personal circumstances, the whole process involves thousands of hours of practice, feedback, relentless conviction through countless misses and failures, and a whole lot of patient waiting for the meta coach, that is me, to mature in wisdom and gradually embed the skills into my muscle memory. But is it worth it? As I witness the trail of leaders and individuals I have been privileged to coach achieve personal breakthroughs in their lives, I sigh a grateful yes. Similarly, our Christian life stands as the pinnacle of valuable experiences that are so worth the patient waiting for the Spirit to work in us, to mature us and restore our broken spirit. This Advent is a special season of grace for us to learn to be still, wait while preparing our hearts and minds to receive the Lord. But let's be honest, waiting is not on top of people's priorities nowadays, right? With the AIs at our beck and call, we can produce papers and reports that used to take weeks, even months to gather in mere 3 to 5 seconds, depending on bandwidth. With delivery apps, food is too delayed if it arrives beyond 30 minutes. We want answers now, solutions now. And yes, I want blessings now. And I want patience also, Lord, and I want it now. Yet Advent calls us to something different. It invites us to pause, to listen, and wait on the Lord. In today's Gospel, John the Baptist began his mission in the wilderness. Think about that for a moment. Not in the busy city or the halls of power, but in the rugged stillness of the wilderness. It was there that he heard God's voice and was given his purpose, to prepare the way of the Lord. This reminds me of how often we need to find our own wilderness. You know, that quiet moment in our day, a space where we turn off the noise of the world and listen to what God is telling us. In my own life, it's those moments of stillness when I stop trying to control everything and just be present to Him that I hear Him the clearest. It's uncanny that even in my practice as a meta coach, when I stop trying to control the conversation with busy and overwhelmed executive client and listen with Him for the inner voice where His deepest calling resides, only in those times will I be able to better facilitate His inner transformation. Psalm 42:7 has a profoundly beautiful line which says, "Deep calls to deep," suggesting that the human depths of experience like suffering, confusion, grief, and transitions opens the mind to a longing to connect with our deepest purpose and consolation in God. When John cried out, "Prepare the way of the Lord, make His paths straight," he invites us to look into our hearts and ask, what is standing in the way of God in my life? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the busyness that leaves no time for deep calling to deep? Advent gives us the chance to clear those obstacles and make room for Jesus. And then John speaks about valleys being filled and mountains being made low. Doesn't that describe the journey of our lives? There are moments when we feel like we are in deep valleys, overwhelmed and broken. And there are times when we face towering mountains, challenges that seem impossible to overcome. But here's the promise. When we listen to God, call to Him and wait on Him, He moves. He fills the valleys with hope and flattens the mountains with His power. You know, life can be tough, whether it's making ends meet, dealing with struggles in our families, or facing the uncertainty of tomorrow. But Advent reminds us God is at work. Even when we don't see it, even when waiting endlessly, and we are assured His salvation is on its way. Every time my family hits a deep crisis, we learn to go on our knees, to beg God to pull us through the painfully low valley or exhausting mountains of challenges. And in God's great timing, He pulls us through. The pandemic caused 6 months of literally no business for us, with kids, actually 4 kids going to school. So we learned to wait on the Lord, and we are gloriously grateful as a mess through that process, but God pulled us through. So this Advent, I invite you to join me in doing something radical. Let's slow down. Let's carve out time each day to listen to Him, to reflect, and to trust. Let's prepare our hearts, not just with words, but with lives that reflect His grace and His love. For the same God who promised salvation to the world promises it to you and to me, in His time, in His way. All flesh shall see the salvation of God. And if this reflection has blessed you, do share it to bless others. May this season of Advent fill you with patient, peaceful waiting, and may the redeeming depth of God's love turn the depth of your pain into joy. A blessed Sunday.